Memorial Gymnasium
Yeah.
to Vanderbilt and lost 74-69 in a game where they were down by 14 at halftime.
Yeah.
And they came storming back. I believe they were up. I'll get corrected on this if I'm wrong, but I believe they ended up having a 6-point lead at one point in the second half. It was definitely multiple possessions.
7-point lead at
So they were up by 7 late
58-51.
Yeah, they were up by 7 late in the second half without Andrew Carr.
Right. Yes.
And they
Big
ended
difference.
up losing that game. Here's my biggest takeaway. Let's do the Kentucky angle first, and then we can talk about what this means for Vanderbilt. This is the second straight loss where the guy that I think is the most valuable player on Kentucky made some bad decisions late. Lamont Butler had a couple of really bad turnovers that led directly to points at the other end, right? And if you take away the free throws that Vanderbilt made late, those 4 points that he gave up ended up being more or less the difference in this game. And I am one of the biggest Lamont Butler fans that you are going to find anywhere on planet Earth.
Me too.
Right? I think that he has to be better than he's been the last couple of games. He has to be better than he was late in Alabama, and he certainly has to be better than he was against Vanderbilt. Yeah. And I wonder how much of that is
not having Andrew Carr probably is part of it.
Not having Carr, but also not having Kirk Risa available because Travis Perry is playing the backup point guard minutes. So I wonder if he's getting a little bit tired and a little bit run
the Noah kid was in there for like key minutes tonight. Where and I said this a few weeks ago when I saw them in person in Athens. I think they miss Kirk Risa. You look at his numbers, what he's been doing this year, and you're like, why would you miss Kirk Risa? Mm-hmm. They miss his, which is crazy to say, but it's true. They miss his leadership. They miss his energy. They miss his swagger, all of that. This is a team that, now I know they went to Starkville and got a big win against Mississippi State after losing against Georgia on the road, but I still feel like they don't have that shit to them. They don't walk in like a Kentucky team used to walk into an arena and instill any fear. There's no fear. They don't really talk. They're super quiet, unassuming, not intimidating. Again, when the shots are falling, it's pretty, but it's not like they're a physically imposing team.
Yeah, and they win a lot with flashy offense.
Yes,
and putting up points and kind of the really the fancy stuff that they run, right? It's very different than like what we saw Auburn and Tennessee do tonight, whereas Auburn proved tonight they can win a game when they got to win with their defense. I don't know. We saw Kentucky do it against Texas A&M, but that was the only time that we've seen them do it so far this season. But look, I do think that there are things that you can nitpick about the way that this game specifically played out for Kentucky, right? Like Lamont Butler had some bad turnovers. Otega Owe had a bad one late in the game. Kobe Brea didn't shoot all that well. You obviously don't have Andrew Carr, which just moves everybody one spot up on the depth chart, and you lose a little bit of his playmaking and his passing. But
all those guys, and they're down a couple key guys right now.
Yeah, but I also think that this said more to me. I said this on last Saturday too. To me, this said more about Vanderbilt than it did about Kentucky losing there, right? To me, it's you go on the road.
And I probably made the same face when you said that. I don't. I think it says more about Kentucky that they weren't as dominant. Remember, like we all said it when they were ranked number 6 in the country. They deserved it based on what they had done, the results. But when you look at this Kentucky team, you're not surprised. Realistically, if I told you this at the beginning of the year and I said, hey, they're going to lose to Vandy, you'd be more surprised that they beat Gonzaga and won some of these other games and beat Duke than losing to Vandy.
I'd be more surprised that they beat Duke, knowing what we know about Duke now than anything else. But I also people always – I don't want to say that those wins were fluky that they had at the start of the year.
No, but they could have went either way.
Yes.
They could have went either way, and they all went their way.
The last couple could have went either way ones have not gone.
Yes. They're not a dominant team. They're a good team. They're probably, and I've said this, if they make the Sweet 16, if they make the second weekend, if you're a Kentucky fan, you should be ecstatic. Yeah. I know you don't want to hear that because I know you have higher aspirations now because of who you beat.
They have higher aspirations, but I also think that most Kentucky fans do realize, and please, I know that they will let us know if we're wrong, but I think most Kentucky fans do realize that this Kentucky team is not the Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd Gilchrist Kentucky team. I think that they realized, yes, they were ranked as high as like 4th or 6th or whatever it was in the country, but this is more like a top 15-ish kind of a team than a top 5-ish.
Well, I mean, Kentucky fans aren't the most realistic bunch.
Yeah, but I think that they know their ball.
They know their ball, but they're
fans.
But they're fans, and when they see their guys beating Duke and going to Seattle and beating Gonzaga and beating Louisville pretty easily, I think they were getting a little bit like, hey, you know what? Maybe we can get a Final Four out of this year. Maybe we are that good.
They still might be able to. And look, I'll tell you this. Yeah. I'd love to see Kentucky at the Final Four this year. Kentucky at the Final Four makes it a fun Final Four.
Imagine John Calipari in the what's the name of the tournament again? The Fox
Crown.
Tournament? In the Crown. Cal playing in the Crown and Mark Pope and Kentucky playing in the Final Four.
There's less than zero chance
the Cal plays in the Crown.
Arkansas does not make NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Will play in whatever.
Yeah, I don't think an SEC team will.
Can I defend? I'm gonna defend Vanderbilt here and just say
should defend them.
Jason Edwards was really, really good again tonight. Tyler Nickel for the second time against the top 10 team made some huge shots down the stretch. They are very, very well coached. They are tougher than you think that they are.
Byington's in the Coach of the Year discussion. Got to be in there. I'm not saying he's won, but I'm saying if you're listing 5-10 guys, Mark Byington has to be on that list. Has to be.
He might be on a list of 5 to 10 guys. He's not even in the top 2 in the SEC right now.
Okay, that's fine. Look at what he inherited, Rob.
No, I get
what he inherited.
He's done a great job.
You want to read me Jerry Stackhouse's record last year?
Here we go.
The last 5 years?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Read
me Stack won 9 games last year. He won 4 in the league.
No, he's done a fantastic job. And I think that, like I said earlier, I do think that this win said more about this Vanderbilt team and what they are capable of doing this year than it did about Kentucky or any specific concerns that we may have about them.